Across Europe, buried beneath forests, mountains, and coastlines, lie the remnants of one of history's most extensive military construction programs. These are the secret bunkers and fortifications of Nazi Germany, massive concrete structures that served as weapons factories, command centers, and launch sites built with slave labor at an immense human cost. Nearly 80 years after the war's end, these sites continue to be discovered, helping us understand both Nazi military ambition and the tremendous sacrifice made to stop it. Today, we'll explore 15 of the most significant Nazi bunkers ever found, examining their military purpose, the human cost of their construction, and their impact on World War II. In northern France, near the English Channel, lies the remains of one of Nazi Germany's most ambitious secret weapons projects. Codenamed Construction Project 711, this massive underground complex was designed to house Hitler's London gun, the V3 supergun, capable of launching 3,000 shells daily onto London. Construction began in September 1943 with over 5,000 laborers, including enslaved Soviet prisoners working brutal 12-hour shifts. The complex featured two 600-meter railway tunnels buried 30 meters deep with 5 massive incline shafts for gun barrels. Allied bombers dropped over 4,200 tons of explosives on the site. The decisive attack came on July 6, 1944, when RAF dam busters deployed 16 12,000-pound earthquake bombs, causing catastrophic tunnel collapses. Canadian forces captured the abandoned fortress without resistance, and Churchill ordered its complete demolition using 36 tons of TNT. Today it operates as a museum honoring both Allied airmen and the slave workers who perished there. Just inland from Normandy's D-Day beaches, the Maisie battery remained buried for over 60 years until British historian Gary Stern rediscovered it in 2004. This underground city featured 14 massive guns capable of firing on both Utah and Omaha beaches, connected by over 3 kilometers of trenches. What made Maisie particularly dangerous was its concealment below ground level, making it invisible to Allied reconnaissance. Despite extensive pre-invasion bombardments, the battery remained operational throughout D-Day, shelling landing beaches for 3 days. U.S. Rangers finally captured it on June 9th after a 5-hour battle, discovering 180 tons of ammunition, enough for weeks of bombardment. Denmark's coastline holds 7,000 bunkers from Hitler's Atlantic Wall, the largest construction project in Danish history. In 2008, violent storms revealed 4 fully furnished bunkers untouched since 1945, containing tobacco pipes, uniforms, medicine vials, and communication equipment preserved exactly as left by German soldiers. These time capsules provided unprecedented insight into daily life along the Atlantic Wall. Today, several Danish bunkers operate as museums, including the Tirpitz bunker in Blovund, attracting 100,000 visitors annually and helping people understand the reality of Nazi occupation. Hidden in Poland's Masurian woods, the Wolf's Lair served as Hitler's primary Eastern Front headquarters. This 250-hectare complex of 200 buildings had bunker walls 8 meters thick, designed to withstand aerial bombardment. Hitler spent over 800 days here between 1941 and 1944, directing military operations. On July 20, 1944, Colonel Klaus von Stauffenberg placed a briefcase bomb beneath a conference table in the most famous assassination attempt against Hitler. The explosion killed 4 men, but Hitler survived with minor injuries. The failed Operation Valkyrie resulted in brutal reprisals, 7,000 arrests, and nearly 5,000 executions. In 2015, workers discovered human remains near the complex, identified as a concentration camp prisoner from the forced labor battalions that built the fortress. Today, 300,000 visitors annually walk among the ruins. Located at Hamburg's harbor, the Elba II bunker was built in 1941 to protect Germany's submarine fleet. After Germany's surrender, British engineers used 32 tons of explosives to demolish it, but the blast sealed submarines inside, creating an accidental time capsule. The structure proved remarkably resilient. Even 150 kilograms of dynamite in 2001 barely affected it. Researchers rediscovered the entombed submarines in 1985, but authorities later filled the bunker with concrete. Today, these warships lie beneath a parking lot, completely inaccessible. The Jersey Tunnel complex, excavated 50 meters underground, required more rock removal than the entire Atlantic Wall from Norway to Spain. Over 5,000 forced laborers from across Europe endured brutal 12-hour shifts with basic tools. Russian and Ukrainian prisoners faced particularly severe conditions, with many dying from malnutrition and exhaustion. Originally designed as air raid shelters, the tunnels were later converted into a casualty clearing station and hospital. Today, the Jersey War Tunnels Museum preserves the original operating theater and displays about the harsh conditions forced laborers endured, ensuring their suffering is remembered. In Bavaria's forests, Nazi Germany began constructing an innovative underground factory in 1944. Codenamed Vineyard I, this facility used a unique method, creating gravel mounds, pouring concrete over them, then excavating underneath to form massive 85-meter-wide arches. Of 10,000 workers, 8,500 were forced laborers, primarily Jewish prisoners and Soviet POWs. Tragically, over 3,000 died from overwork and starvation. Those too weak were sent to Auschwitz. Despite this enormous human cost, only 7 of 12 planned arches were completed before American forces arrived. Today, one arch remains as a memorial to those who died. This massive fortress near Saint-Omer was designed as the world's first V2 rocket assembly and launch facility, with walls 5 meters thick and 28-meter-high ceilings. Construction consumed 150,000 cubic meters of concrete, intended to launch dozens of rockets daily at London. Allied Operation Crossbow targeted the site with 187 B-17 bombers, dropping 368 tons of bombs on August 27, 1943. The bombing proved so effective that the facility never fired a single V-2. Today it serves as a historical monument, attracting 50,000 visitors annually, with visible bomb damage still evident. This sophisticated underground complex near Sanct Gorgon produced 450 Messerschmitt Me 262 jet fighter fuselages monthly by April 1945. The facility's 50,000 square meters of tunnels represented desperate Nazi attempts to shield aircraft production from bombing. Approximately 10,000 slave laborers worked here, with 3,500 in production and 6,500 in construction. Prisoners from Mauthausen-Gusen concentration camp endured 14-hour shifts in dust-filled tunnels, resulting in 100 deaths daily. Jewish prisoners survived an average of just 4 months in what they called the Hell of Hells. U.S. forces liberated the facility on May 5, 1945, finding it 85% complete. Soviets later dismantled all equipment and destroyed key tunnel sections. After Allied bombing destroyed Peenemünde, Nazi authorities relocated V-2 rocket production to tunnels within Konstein Mountain. This underground factory employed 12,000 prisoners by fall 1944, producing 600 rockets monthly by 1945. Prisoners initially lived entirely within unstable tunnels, deprived of daylight for months. Of 60,000 prisoners who passed through Middleba, at least 20,000 died. Some risked their lives in sabotage. Over 200 were publicly hanged. The first V-2 built here successfully launched against London on September 8, 1944. Today, the site serves as a memorial to those murdered in these tunnels. Positioned near Cap Gris-Nez, this battery featured 4 massive 380mm guns with a 55-kilometer range, easily reaching England. Throughout its operation, the guns caused over 3,000 alerts and 216 civilian deaths in Dover, though remarkably never confirmed hitting any ships despite frequent bombardment. On September 29, 1944, the 3rd Canadian Infantry Division captured the battery after RAF bombing raids dropped 855 tons of explosives. The North Nova Scotia Highlanders encountered minimal resistance, with German gunners surrendering by mid-morning. Today, the site houses a museum featuring one of only 2 remaining K5 railway guns worldwide. Codenamed Waterworks Street Paul, this colossal bunker was designed to launch V1 flying bombs at London. Construction used an innovative technique, building the roof first, then excavating beneath while protected from Allied bombs. The facility could store 150 missiles with direct railway access. Allied intelligence quickly identified the site, launching intensive bombing campaigns from September 1943. Despite the massive concrete structure nearing completion, interior work barely began before abandonment in April 1944. The bunker never fired a single V1, testament to Allied bombing effectiveness. This enormous complex featured a 70-meter concrete dome protecting underground V2 rocket storage and launch facilities. Designed to store 500 rockets and launch dozens daily at London, the facility represented Nazi Germany's most ambitious rocket base. Allied forces conducted 16 separate air raids with 811 bombers dropping 4,600 tons of explosives, preventing the facility from becoming operational. Like other V-weapon sites, thousands of forced laborers from concentration camps suffered and died during construction. Today, Lakup operates as a history center and planetarium, presenting exhibits in 4 languages about both the facility's intended purpose and the broader context of Nazi occupation. Second Project Reese, Poland. The Giant's unfinished fortress beneath Poland's Owl Mountains. Project Giant remains one of Hitler's most mysterious construction endeavors. Between 1943 and 1945, workers carved 9 kilometers of tunnels through solid rock, creating 25,000 square meters of underground space. The exact purpose remains contested, possibly Hitler's headquarters or underground armaments production. What's certain is the human cost. Thousands of concentration camp prisoners died from exhaustion and brutal working conditions. The project reached only 11% completion, consuming enormous resources Germany couldn't afford. The mystery continues to attract researchers, while the site serves as a memorial to forced laborers who died there. The unfinished complex stands as testimony to the ultimate failure of Nazi ambitions. Located beneath Berlin's Reich Chancellery, the Führerbunker served as Hitler's final headquarters. Hitler retreated here on January 16, 1945, as Soviet forces closed in, rarely venturing outside except for his final appearance on April 20th, his 56th birthday. On April 29th, Hitler married Eva Braun in the bunker's map room, then dictated his final will. The following day, both ended their lives. Their bodies were burned in the Chancellery Garden as per Hitler's instructions, effectively ending the Third Reich. The bunker featured 30 small rooms with 4-meter concrete walls, but conditions were unpleasant and damp despite fortifications. After the war, Soviets attempted destruction, but the construction proved too robust. East German authorities later filled remaining sections with concrete. Today the site lies beneath a parking lot, marked only by a small plaque, a fitting end to Nazi Germany's underground empire. These 15 bunkers represent more than military engineering. They are monuments to human suffering and the ultimate triumph of freedom over tyranny. Built with forced labor costing thousands of lives, they also tell the story of Allied determination and resistance. From code breakers identifying locations to bomber crews destroying them, from resistance fighters providing intelligence to forced laborers committing sabotage at the cost of their lives, countless individuals prevented these weapons of terror from reaching full potential. Today, many sites serve as museums and memorials, ensuring lessons from this dark period aren't forgotten. They remind us of the importance of defending democratic values and the terrible consequences when hatred goes unchecked. As we continue discovering these hidden remnants, each site adds understanding of the conflict's true scope and sacrifice required to preserve freedom. These bunkers, once symbols of Nazi oppression, now stand as monuments to human resilience and the ultimate victory of good over evil. The concrete may endure for centuries, but the memory of those who suffered and fought must endure forever.